Okay, good evening, everyone. It is the evening of June 11th, 2025, and news has broken out about the new US-China trade deal. I have been trying to find the text of it. So far, I cannot find any text. I do not think any text exists at this time, but I'll get into that in a minute. First off, I want to say thank you to all the new subscribers and thank you for all the comments. I am enjoying reading them, and a couple of people have poked a little fun at me lately, and I have to say the jokes honestly have been pretty good. So kudos to y'all. Okay, so on to the main topic, which is the China-America trade deal. Basically, what the deal does is it keeps the 55% tariffs in place for American imports of Chinese goods. So that's a 55% tariff paid by American importers. China will keep a 10% tariff in place for China that will be paid by Chinese importers of American goods. Um, Supposedly, China is going to relaunch rare earth exports to the United States, and the United States will not interfere with Chinese students attending American universities. That is what we know so far. According to Howard Luckman, this is a handshake agreement. He described it as operationalizing the agreement that we made in Geneva a few weeks ago. The Chinese representative Li, I will not even attempt to pronounce his last name, but according to the Financial Times, he basically said the same thing, that this was a way to do the framework from the Geneva deal. So apparently we have agreed to do the thing that we already agreed to do a few weeks ago. Um, the Lutnick said something to the effect of, we're going to maybe do some reduction, lay off some export controls. The Biden administration had put export controls in place for a variety of sensitive technologies, namely chips. Lutnick has certainly hinted at the idea that we are going to remove some of those. The Biden administration logic was that China was a geopolitical threat and competitor to the United States, a bad faith competitor, and as such, we should limit the advanced technology that they can buy from us. Lutnick has indicated that those restrictions will be eased somewhat. Bessent, however, came out today and said that absolutely not, that's not going to happen. Who's right, who's wrong? Heck if I know. I doubt the Trump administration knows. Trump has, of course, announced the deal. The As best I can tell, this is a complete it's a nothing burger of a deal. Nothing happened. They basically spent 3 days in London and came out and said, we're going to do the thing that we agreed to do in Geneva, which, by the way, according to both sides, neither party actually followed through on the agreement from Geneva, other than for the tariff rates. Rare earths. Let's get to this one. This is probably one of the bigger ones. The United States has been buying all types of rare earth, especially magnets, from China for many, many years. We've never had any problem buying them. They've been more than happy to sell them to us. We use them for medical technology, defense technology, telecommunications, aerospace, you name it. It's all kinds of stuff. And China basically cut those off. And American stockpiles are dwindling, and it's becoming a problem. China has said that they cut those off at the Geneva deal. They said we'd get them restarted. They did not. Then a few days before London, they said, okay, we'll allow them for American automakers because they use some of them. But that's it. Their government announced within the last few hours that they were only going to allow a 6-month window for those exports. So it appears that those exports will restart. I will again remind everyone, those exports went on uninterrupted for years prior to Trump launching the trade war. So I do not see this as any kind of a victory for the United States. We're just getting back to what we already had in January. But apparently we're only going to have that for 6 months. Bessent also said that the 90-day pause on remember Trump had tariffs up like 145%, that will be extended and that pause will go on longer. So I would say we were definitely back at a taco trade situation. Trump always chickens out. As for the students, the Chinese students in American universities, they've been doing this for years. I do think there's legitimate security concerns. They are required by Chinese law to report to the Chinese government and provide intelligence. Intellectual theft, technological theft is a big thing that has been a problem and is a way China has closed many of the technological gaps they had with the United States. Send a student over, get them working, at MIT or something, get them working at, Lockheed Martin or Boeing or whatever. Learn something and then give all the information to China, even if it's patented or otherwise protected. So a few weeks ago, Trump was saying there's way too many foreign students in American universities and we need to crack down on that, and MAGA supported it. He's now said that he has no problem with Chinese students being there, which and which means MAGA will now completely support the idea of 300,000 Chinese students in American universities. I will say, in Trump's defense, 300,000 students paying tuition, if that number were to drop suddenly, sharply and suddenly, that could spell financial catastrophe for a number of American universities. Not the Ivy Leagues, they have huge endowments, they'd be fine. But smaller colleges and whatnot that maybe really depend on that for revenue, that could be very, very bad for them. So there is something to be said for allowing that to continue. Besides the fact that also the contributions to PhD programs and research projects and stuff like that. So that is basically where we are at. So what we have gotten is we can now buy the rare earths and magnets that we were buying from them for years again. There are students who have been attending our universities for years, can continue to attend, and American importers will pay the high tariffs, and Chinese importers will pay higher tariffs than they were paying on American goods, but not nearly as high. I will say this for Trump. One, he has convinced the Republican Party to love government revenue. It is the wildest thing from a lifelong Republican, and that's great, the government's getting so much money out of this. Really? That's who we are now? That is different. But apparently, hey, Trump sold the party on it. Trump's primary goal has been to close the trade deficit with China, and to shrink that. That has already been shrinking. China is shipping more and more stuff out of their ports to Vietnam or South Korea or wherever they can, and having it repackaged as being coming from those countries. Given that plus these tariff levels, I would expect the trade deficit with China to drop sharply. Now, that being said, does that mean that the real life trade deficit will drop sharply? Maybe, maybe not. I'm not sure. It's tough to account for the transshipping, when they send stuff to Vietnam or wherever, and have it repackaged and sent to the United States. They could just as easily send it to Peru, by the way, and do the same thing. So that is where we are at right now. Again, I would say on a scale of 1 to 10, this is a 1 or a 2. We have managed to get back on some important issues to what we had in January. I don't know. We don't seem to really be going anywhere with this. Again, the fact that this is a handshake agreement means that neither country appears to have any legally binding agreement. So I would say at this point, the number of legally binding trade deals the Trump administration has entered into remains at 0. There's this one and the British one, and according to both sides, neither side abided by the terms of the Geneva Agreement, and that the whole point of this round of talks, the London Agreement, is to agree to do what we agreed to do in Geneva. Again, I would say this is a nothing burger. Hopefully some text will come out. Hopefully there'll be a written version of this. I can study it and offer some more insight into this, but again, this appears to be a lot of sound and fury signifying nothing. So that is my opinion. I hope that is useful. Oh, I'm sorry, a couple real quick points. How did the market react? The Dow was down like 1 point today, not 1 percentage point, like 1 point. So basically the Dow is unchanged. I would say the market did not overall had no reaction at all to this deal. It was not happy with it. It was not upset with it. It was not even mildly so. It just didn't matter. Target and Walmart are two major American retailers that import a lot from China. Target was down about 2.5%. Walmart was down, say 1.5%. So to the extent you could say the market did react to it, on the companies that had high levels of exposure to tariffs on imported Chinese goods, they were down somewhat today, not hugely. 2.5% for Target, that's not nothing. 1.5% for Walmart's a little milder. So the reaction, to the extent there is one, is negative by the markets, but this is a very minimal reaction, very minimal. And the overall broader market seems to just simply not care one way or the other. It did not move or anything. Wall Street is treating this as a nothing burger. There was no real move in bond yields, nothing significant. So I would say that the bond market is treating this also as a nothing burger. Again, if text comes out, if we have something to read, I will do a second video and update on this. But until that happens, this is my reaction. Comment in the section below. Tell me what you thought I got right. Tell me what you thought I got wrong. And hey, if you got any more good jokes to make at my expense, feel free. I thought the last few were actually pretty funny. All right, everyone. Have a good night. Bye-bye.